We're here at Media City with City and United fans talking about whether players from one would get in the other. City fans, John Hartson, saying that the company and Lescott have played so well together that a fully fit Vidic wouldn't break up that partnership. What do you think?
I have to agree with that. I like this. I like the style of Man City and the squad. I'm just looking at that. I think they've got the best goalkeeper in the world, Hart, at this moment in time. You know, Micah Richards, a lot of people think he should be in the England team ahead of Johnson. You know, that's up for debate. I do think the partnership of Lescott and Company was a wonderful signing. I think Mark Hughes brought Company in, didn't he? A player that I played against in the Champions League for Celtic against Anderlecht. He was very young at the time. Midfield, you know, you got Barry, who brings you that English type of mentality. He's the Englishman in there. You know, I've spoken about Johnson. Up front, you have the likes of Dzeko and Aguero. I'm still not too sure about Balotelli, personally. I think he brings a lot of baggage, unnecessary baggage. I know he turns it on, but 1 in 3 games for me, you know, I'm just not quite convinced at that one. And I think they're a fantastic side. And, you know, you asked a question about Vidic and Ferdinand. I think the way Lescott and Company have settled as a pairing, we've spoken about the Manchester United pairings over the years, the Bruce Pallisters, you know, Vidic and Ferdinand. They've been imperative to United's success. If you keep them two lads at the club, which I'm sure they will do, both young, you know, I think they're a great partnership. I really do.
Ferdinand's issue, though, is his fitness. I mean, Ferguson yesterday was talking him up, saying that that United can rely on him now. Vidic is not there, but Ferdinand, you're talking about a man who hasn't played 4 successive games in 14 months now. So that's not someone you can rely upon.
Come on, then, Manchester United fans, David. You know, they say they don't want any of your players. They wouldn't need any of your players. Wouldn't you mind a few of theirs?
Not particularly. I think you should focus on what you've got. I mean, there are areas of the United team and squad where players have left, moved on. So obviously, Scholes, Hargreaves have left the club. Potentially areas where we could have some reinforcements. But at the end of the day, you have to trust the manager. He's been in charge of the club for a very long time and continually rebuilt teams from scratch. He's the master of knowing when it's time to give up on certain players, move them on, and literally time that right and get the young players coming through. So just have to trust the manager that he knows what's best.
Ian, he said he wasn't going to do any January signings. They tend to be rather expensive or cup-tied, or there's, you know, not really the time for them to settle in and make the immediate impact which maybe you would need when it comes to the Premier League in January.
Yeah, we've never been big buyers in January anyway. It's only a handful of times really when we brought players in who've been additions to the first team squad. I think the squad's there really. I mean, there's the one position really that, you know, we all know it's just, you know, players who nose in your face. It's who's available and not silly money. We haven't got silly money to throw about. You know, we've had you know, hundreds of millions taken out of the club, not 800 million pumped into the club, and anyone can go and buy the best players about if you've got the money. We're not in that luxury position, but likes Jones, Smalling, Hernandez, have been playing brilliant, fantastic. And, you know, I think they're players who could get into the City team. Of course, there's players who we may have been in for. You know, there was rumours of us being in for Nasri. You know, Company's a good player. He's not been playing that much for City at the moment. There's a bit of issues behind the scenes, but, you know, there are players which could strengthen the United team that are playing for City at the moment, but there are players at United, but that's not what it's about. It's what the team does as a whole. We've, you know, it's been proven what we've done. 19th title last year, you know, European Cup final. It was outclassed by Barcelona, but with a few additions and a bit of investment in the squad at United, I don't think there's anything to worry about.
Well, let's just talk about January then, David White. From your point of view, start with Manchester United. We all know central midfield's what the big area is. What could they do there? I mean, you know, Inter Milan are still in the Champions League. Would Schneider want to leave Inter Milan to come to Manchester United this season when they're not in the Champions League? What do you think is a possibility there?
Well, I think you're very, very limited, aren't you, to be honest. You obviously, you're not going to get when you're competing right at the top of the league, as you say, players that are still in the Champions League are the players you're going to want to get, and you're just not going to get them in January. You'll end the season, it's a totally different story. So for them to change the season around this year is going to be difficult. But at the end of the day, as the lads have said, you know, United have been there for a long, long time, and they've had years previously where they haven't done so good. Obviously, the highlight this year is because it's City that they're the main rivals there. And at the end of the day, Sir Alex Ferguson will get it right, as he always has done for these guys. I think, just looking back, they clearly are a weaker squad and a weaker team than City are at the moment. If you flip that the other way, I mean, I'd be saying I mean, I think Rooney would get in any team in the world. It's as good as Aguero and Dzeko, those lads have been playing. I think, you know, Rooney was in your squad, he'd be in your team, and maybe Evra would be the other one that hasn't been mentioned. John didn't talk about left back before, but possibly, you know, he'd be a player that would get in any team in the world as well. But if you look at almost every City squad player on an individual basis, if he went on loan to United, would be getting in the team. That's the way I would look at it at the moment. And I don't think these lads would maybe. You have got weaker areas in your team that you probably haven't had previously. But as I said, there's been seasons previously where you've had a bit of a downturn, and then the next season he sorted it out. So, and as we said, the league is a long way off being finished. United are right there behind City, and United have pulled back unbelievable points gaps to win leagues, and they've always, the second half of the season, they have always been stronger. Still very tight. I mean, any other season they'd be top of the league with the points tally they've got now. City have been incredible. They need to keep it, and we can't forget about Spurs either. I mean, that would. I mean, I think Spurs are 7 points behind City with a game in hand, and they play City in January. So if they win that game in hand and then beat City, they're a point behind them, and that'd be, for him to do that and possibly win the league would be the most amazing managerial job I think we'd have ever seen. So the league's a long way from being over. It's going to be very difficult for Alex Ferguson to really change the dynamic of his team in January. But he'll definitely do it in summer, and next year they'll be stronger again for sure.
Understandably, realism obviously reigns with Manchester City fans. Another goal at Southampton, John Southall.
Yes, this wasn't really in the script. Southampton 1, Blackpool 1. The cross from the left-hand side from Callum McManaman, and there was Chris Basham 4 yards out to head in comfortably. Remember, Southampton are going for a record-breaking 20th straight win in the league, but they've been pegged back. Southampton 1, Blackpool 1.
Just want to ask about the FA Cup, of course. Who could forget about the FA Cup? Let's ask this Manchester United fan here. Are you still awake? Yeah, you still with us? Yeah, there we go. We're doing really well. Chris, is it? Now, Chris, so the FA Cup, you know, you're out the Champions League, and obviously you're out the League Cup. You know, you've got some work to do in the Premier League. So the FA Cup, so Alex Ferguson can't afford to lose this tie, can he, to Manchester City?
We can't afford to lose this tie. I mean, the FA Cup is always an important competition. We haven't won it for a number of years. I think it's 2004. So it's a long time since we won it. It'd be nice to be City at their ground. You know, we're supposed to get more tickets for that game, so you know, a lot more fans in there, and will be a nice atmosphere.
Yeah, you do tend to get more tickets for cup games, which actually does lead to a better atmosphere. Ian, you can't afford to lose that, can you? If you lose that, then you really are thinking, heck, what are we going to win this season?
Europa League in the league. You know, we'll see what happens. It's. You know, 10 years ago, this wouldn't be such a big game, would it? You know, United versus City, it's nice. It's like, you know, kind of like beating of a heart, two ventricles going away there, hopefully pushing each other on. I'm glad of the early chance for revenge. You know, a lot can happen. I mean, we've got, let's put the semi-final aside, you know, we've got a good record at the Council House, sorry, in cup competitions. You know, the League Cup, you know, games were good for us there. So I'm looking forward to it. I think we'll do well. We get stronger in January. I think we've had a funny start to the season, a lot of injuries. We get a few players back, and I think we'll be up for it again.
Yeah. Well, let's just ask a City fan about that. Andy, come in here, because obviously you've got 2 League Cup ties, semi-finals against Liverpool in there as well. This is where your big squad will really need to come into its own, where Roberto Mancini does a little bit of juggling, but tries to make sure he wins all these games.
The truth is that it means more to United fans playing City than it does City fans playing United. It seems to me that this season...
Hang on, I thought it meant more to United fans to play Liverpool over the years than it did. Yeah, Ian, yeah? I'm getting nods.
Well, I'd like to agree with Fergie there that it isn't the big thing for City fans anymore. The biggest thing is the next game, whoever it is, be it the League, be it the Cup. We don't really, I personally don't look at it and think, oh, great, another game against United where we're going to beat them. It really doesn't matter that much in the big picture. It used to be the only thing in our season is, oh, if we could get one over on United. It isn't anymore. It's another game. It's a Cup game. They're going to go at the Cup again. We move on. But it seems to be now, United fans are saying, oh, let's get revenge against it. We're on a different level to them in the relationship, if you like, than we used to be. It's another cup game. It'd be nice to win it, but let's win the league first.
So, Danny and other City fans, there's been a change in the way that City fans look at playing Manchester United. Because Manchester City are so much better now, it's not when maybe you're having an extremely average season that the only high point would be the chance to beat Man United.
Yeah, it's you know, from a City fan point of view, you know, we're in a situation now where we wouldn't have dreamed of being to be in a few years ago. And it's interesting. I was on 5 Live with Ian the day before the semi-final of the Cup. You know, and his ending argument, which was quite, you know, cringeworthy, was, you know, he used that line, "We're not arrogant, we're just better." That the next day, he blatantly wasn't. And it's interesting to see Ian's point of view change over the course of this conversation to the last time I was here with him. He's very humble now. He's very no, he is. And last time, I mean, he's
a hostage to his words of yesterday, isn't he? Yeah.
And he
can take it.
He can take it, and so I know I give it. I can take it. But I was hoping he'd be here today, because he as I say, he ended the conversation on "we're not arrogant, we're just better." The day after, he wasn't. I don't think he could say that now, because I think.
So are you not arrogant? You're just better.
Well, no, I'd never use it. I cringe when I hear that phrase, whoever it comes from. But you know, we're in a situation where we're not worried about United anymore. You know, at this point in time, things may change. Ferguson might, you know, buy in January and things get a lot brighter. But you know, I'm just excited to be a City fan. Win, lose, or draw. I think we'll beat them in the FA Cup. I think they've never beat us in the FA Cup on our home ground. I'm pretty sure that's the case. That won't change. You know, I don't see anything for us to be concerned about. We've got fantastic owners. There'll be continual investment over the years, and we've not. I mean, other than. I agree, you know, Wayne Rooney for me would get in the City team. I'd probably have Vidic. I know John probably, you know, slightly disagrees. And I wouldn't have Evra over. So to me, it'd just be Vidic and Rooney. And wow, who'd have said that 3 years ago?
Well, it's amazing, isn't it? A composite team would be like that. Daniel, from your point of view, of this FA Cup tie. Oh, just got hooked up a little bit there, sorry. From the FA Cup tie, the importance of it, maybe more from the Manchester United point of view.
Undoubtedly, I think David makes a very good point that any other season, United will probably be top of the league. Results-wise in the league, they've actually done very well. It just doesn't feel particularly like that when City are doing so much better. United have had it all their own way in Manchester for a long time, and I think that is definitely exacerbating the issues that we have currently at United. The sense of crisis perhaps is being exaggerated because of what we're seeing at City. The game in January, I think if United lose out, the problem they've then got is that for the rest of the season it's going to be very, very, very grumpy at Old Trafford. It's going to be very, very
who is?
But there's already a simmering kind of resentment there, and a feeling maybe that some of the fans feel they've been misled. There's the money issues, there's the Glazer issue. Just because the green and gold isn't so visible anymore, it's still there. These things could all come back. When there was the 6-1, immediately, you know, there were sort of scenes afterwards where the Glazers' car was sort of ambushed outside the ground. You know, there's a lot of bad feelings sort of simmering beneath the surface.
Interesting you say that about green and gold, because Ian, I felt at the beginning of the season, particularly with the scarves that have been made up saying 19, that, you know, quite canny to sell those scarves. They had rather submerged the amount of green and gold scarves that I saw at Old Trafford, and in a way maybe that you know, the green and gold campaign had run out of a little bit of steam because United had won the title again.
Well, actually, they didn't sell those scarves. They gave them away.
Well, even cleverer then.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the desire is still there for change from United. Daniel makes some very good points. I mean, we're having a, you know, good season compared to last in points. It brings it into sharper focus because of the, you know, relative success of City at the moment. You know, losing that FA Cup semi-final did hurt. Now's the time to be humble. Thank you. But there is that still desire for change at the club. You're right, the amount of money that has gone out of United is criminal. It's criminal. You know, 570 million, absolutely just wasted. We could go out and buy any player that we wanted with that. We could have strengthened the team. You know, we would be, you know, would half of those players be at City now if they had the choice of coming to United if we had the money? Maybe not. You know, it hurts. It hurts as a United fan because really, as a club, we generate our own income to be the best and compete with the best in Europe. But with the millstone round our necks that is the Glazers, it makes things really difficult, and I think that's where the resentment comes from. I think the Glazers have got exactly the same reception outside the ground. Have we won 6-1 or even lost 6-1? You know, we want to see a change, and you know, you've got changes with UEFA with the financial fair play rules coming in. I mean, that's going to be difficult for City. I mean, what are UEFA going to say about, you know, Mansour's brother coming along and giving them 400 million? It's plainly not right, and it's just not as right with the debts that United have got as well.
Well, thank you very much indeed. As far as financial fair play is concerned, we could do an entire evening dedicated to that, which we probably will. Daniel, John, thanks for coming in, really appreciate it. David, thank you. Gents, thank you for coming in, really appreciate it. Hope you like our new offices as well. Here we are. Thank you very much indeed. So I'm going to go over to Old Trafford now and join our commentary team, John Murray and Danny Mills.